Hello Capricorn, and welcome to your November 2023 forecast. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. We're going to be taking a look at the next 6 to 8 weeks here. This is going to help you plan for all of the opportunities ahead. You can watch this either in advance of the month or as it's unfolding, and you can always apply it to Sun, Rising Moon, and Venus. I begin each and every one of my readings with channeled messages coming directly from Source. Then we'll take a look at the cards. Today, as I was meditating on your sign, what I was picking up on was the need to communicate and clear out your headspace first. And then we're going to talk about some long-term goals here. So the first image that came through to me was this beautiful cloudy sky. Felt the energy of wind or breeze coming through and clearing it up. So to me, this is about communication, but the first piece is clearing out like what it is you want to say. So before we can even get to the swords, we have to go into this Seven of Cups energy. I feel like many of you may be pulled in a lot of directions. There may be some inspiration that's coming through. There may be some other things that you're trying to focus on. You may have overcommitted, and it's just sort of like constantly there's all these thoughts that you have to kind of clear out. So I think one thing that could help out for those of you that are overcommitted is just kind of making a list of what it is that you really want to accomplish over this next month. Make sure that things are aligning to that and helping you make some progress in those areas. And if not, it might be time to do a little bit of pruning to make sure that you have the right amount of time and energy to basically process things and have some rest, have some rejuvenation time. If there's a lot of questions in your head right now, this is a time to raise your hand and say, hey, am I understanding this correctly? Or I need more information or clarity on this, so that you're not sitting there kind of worrying about that and asking yourself all of these questions. When it comes to what you're trying to manifest, the clouds can represent too many options. So being more specific and saying, you know what, I could do all of this, but this is what I really want the most. When we look at this person in the Seven of Cups, kind of gazing at all of the different opportunities, imagine it's almost like a tree with a lot of different apples on it, for instance. He's looking for the one that is the ripest, the most appealing, and he's going to go for that one first. So look for that low-hanging fruit and say, this is the one that is really where I can make the biggest impact, and go for it. If there's something that you need to say to somebody else, there could also be for some of you this, it could be emotional baggage that you're carrying in. I think now would be a great time to clear the air there. Say, I'm sorry, or I'm upset, or we need to talk about this, and really kind of create the initial steps towards healing here. And finally, bouncing your ideas off others is a really great way to kind of have a pulse check, a reality check, and also maybe have someone give you some ideas or some clarity as well. Okay? You may even benefit from some way to kind of like channel your energy, whether it's exercise or sports or hobbies, so that sometimes when we're doing that, we have a way of thinking through a problem and finding the solution. And all of that was what I was getting from the clouds. There's just a lot going on in your thoughts. Anything you can do to articulate it, clear it out, channel it, that's going to be really advantageous as you step into the month ahead. The next thing that I saw was this sort of evergreen forest, and to me this is really auspicious. I chose a card that has the tree of life on it. Whenever I see lush green energy, I usually think pentacles. I'm thinking about the ability to start to grow here. Evergreens are kind of special though. Unlike a lot of other types of trees that lose their leaves when the days get shorter, evergreens are, just like they sound, green all year long and have the ability to photosynthesize when other trees maybe are relying just on their trunk or other elements that are still hanging on through the winter months. An evergreen basically is a symbol of longevity. It's an encouragement to look at long-term goals, and when other people may be taking a break or waiting for things to get better, you're going to innovate, you're going to think through that, and it's basically an all-season sort of card. So I found I've talked about this before, some of the best opportunities in my life during the winter months, whether it's a job or a living situation or a friendship. A lot of times the winter for me is a really fruitful time. And it is in part because other people may not be sort of going for those opportunities, but if you're ready, you can really thrive during this season here. And I'm speaking, of course, winter in the Northern Hemisphere. I know it's opposite in the Southern. Look at the long-term goals and think about what will sustain over time, not just a short-term win or short-term gain. All right, let's take a look now at the Celtic Cross and see what's coming through. Again, this can be used for Sun, Rising, Moon, and Venus. Welcome everybody. Let's see what the cards have to say this month. Let's take a look now at your catalyst card. We have the Water Horse, a path to independence. And as you can see here, the catalyst helps you create some action and necessary movement. So to create that movement, you may need to do something on your own this month. The water, of course, that element is connected to passion. We see it here in the spread as well. You're coming through with Ace of Cups energy. So your heart knows the next step that it needs to take. And it even feels like you're being nicely aligned here with all of these leadership cards. The only thing that you need to do is decide how and when to take that first or that next step. And that's what this card is really summing up here. Of course, the other thing that comes through is the Hermit, because we're looking at independence here, and the Hermit is crossing the centermost card. So the Hermit is all about wisdom and independence and being able to basically be the light, even if there isn't a lot of other people that are in that sort of higher frequency or higher energy. So the Hermit in and of itself, sometimes by just stepping to the side and doing what needs to be done, is another form of a leader as well. Why don't we get into the cards, and we'll intermittently go back to the Water Horse as needed, but I want to get started with the spread, particularly the centermost card, the Seven of Pentacles. This card represents healing and growth. It may not be as quick as you want, but nonetheless, this is healing and growth. In fact, if we take a look at the traditional illustration, you'll see what I'm saying here. He's a little bit impatient, but still, everything is moving towards 8, 9, and 10 of Pentacles. It's just a matter of not taking shortcuts. Why, you ask? Because it takes time for things to take root, especially if there's something that you're trying to sort of create from the bottom up. So in business and finances, no shortcuts. Make sure that what you're doing is sustainable, it's following rules and regulations, it's also something that, you know, isn't sacrificing one thing for another. Slow and steady wins the race here. When it comes to your body or emotional recovery, because this can also indicate both of those, same things. It just takes time for you to get adjusted to a new normal. And as long as you are patient and diligent and aware, then things are moving in the right direction. One thing to avoid with Seven of Pentacles is overextension. So sometimes there is a desire to keep up with someone else, to make an appearance that things are better than they are, or to try to please everyone. And invariably, when you do any number of these things or all of the above, what happens is you might end up in a situation where there's just too much on your plate, and you've overcommitted with time, energy, or money. So in those situations, the main thing that you want to do is pull back a little bit and say no. We actually have the Hermit crossing this particular card, and that is about saying, you know what, I need to take this day off, or I need to catch up on this, or I need to do some more research. You don't have to say yes to everything. Now, it's interesting. I always like to read these three together. So an energy from the past is about now seeing beyond something that's too good to be true. So these two sevens are working together. Seven of Swords, Seven of Pentacles. Seven of Swords is the lie that we tell to ourselves sometimes it'll be all right, I can do it anyway, or no one's going to notice. So this is really being honest with yourself and also keeping commitments and promises and paying off your debts. And that's why these two are in alignment. Do the research, keep your promises, take your time, don't overextend, and you're good to go. If I'm going to get the Seven of Swords, I want it in the past like we see it there. Let's not skip beyond the deep past. This is the big opportunity for this month. Speaking up, taking action. I think it's about timing. It's not really a question of if or when you can speak up. It's really just sort of figuring out how to say what you need to say and how to do it in a way that is well received. Queen of Swords upright, she's like one of the best cards that you would want on your side because she's really good at taking necessary action. She's a wordsmith, but in reverse sometimes the empathy might be missing or the timing might be off. And this is where, again, you might have to move away from what people are pressuring you to do, and you're going to say, no, this is the time, and this is the way, and this is why. So the independence here is about making sure that you're doing what's right. And if somebody tries to push you, because that can happen sometimes. So the Seven of Swords can also be a person in your life. Now let's look a little closer at this. Who's trying to get you to move in a direction that you don't want to, then you speak up like the crow or the raven in the front here. Seven of Swords in reverse. If somebody is trying to do something that is not legal, not proper policy, isn't what you agreed to, this is also calling them out on that and saying, wait a second, we discussed this, and this is what you need to do. And holding them to that account. And if they're not willing or ready to do it, you might have to take other action. But for now, it's just saying, hey, this isn't what we talked about, and I need you to do this. Can I count on you? And if you can't, and if they say no, then you can move in another direction. And guess what? This month, no matter what, even if that happens, you have the ability to do this on your own. And that's what we see here. Independence, of course, with the Hermit, and then Empress, and then the King here is basically all of that coming together. Let's talk about your crowning card. The Empress reverse is an invitation from Spirit to take care of yourself. As one of the ultimate symbols of power, nurturing, and the divine feminine, in the reverse state, it's basically saying in this moment in time, not only is it advantageous, but it's absolutely necessary to do something to create healing and stability and joy in your life, especially since we had a really key water symbol here in the catalyst. The Empress reverse comes through as a reminder that you don't have to fix everything. And for those of you that are parents or those of you that are leaders, this can be hard because your wisdom, which came through with the Hermit, means you've been through a lot and you probably can anticipate the best path that someone should take. Unfortunately, sometimes you just have to let them make a bad decision as long as no one's going to get hurt, and then just deal with maybe that harder path. And what you can do, even in advance of that, is say, you know what, I know you're working on this or you're dealing with this. I've been through it. If you ever want to talk, you have my number or my door is open. You know how to reach me. And basically that's giving them a heads up, like, I know things, but it's also letting them make their own choices. Free will is really important. And when you stop worrying about every step that someone else takes, you can focus on taking the right steps yourself. So be there as a resource, but you don't need to be sort of like a helicopter empress or emperor, like a mom or dad, trying to fix, trying to solve, trying to control everything. It's not the best use of your time and energy this month. In fact, in the near future, we have the real opportunity this month, which is leadership. And we also have a capable juggling card here, the Seven of Wands. You have the capacity to handle so much this month. So let's take a look at what's coming through. King of Wands, probably one of my favorite king cards. I love both the King and the Queen of Wands because they are basically symbolic of innovation. They are really strong. They're capable of holding their own. This is the kind of person that steps in the room and people just pay attention because they command respect, right? And that's why we have like the King of the Jungle behind him, the lion. So this, by the way, you might have a Leo placement. You might have a strong Leo in your life too. We see that coming through here. But either way, this is having the courage to follow your dream, to speak up, to do what you need to do this month because you are set up for success. You just have to believe in yourself. I think that's one of the key things here. King of Wands isn't afraid to do something himself, isn't afraid to start, whether it's a project, a business, or discussion, It's taking the lead. And I really feel like you could take the lead and lead by example. Not always easy to do the latter. Leading by example sometimes just means being the light, even when a lot of people are kind of not ready to sort of step up. And the hermit already is carrying that lantern. So I feel like you have the insight, you have the passion. The main thing that you want to do is take your time, don't overcommit and don't overpromise, and instead focus your energy on personal development and taking that next step, whatever it is, towards your passion, your dream, your goal. This is such a good card for business. It's also good for relationships. And if you're trying to call someone in, like I said, there could be a Leo, there could be a fire sign. There's something beautiful and passionate about the energy that we see here. This month, you're showing up as the Ace of Cups, which is just such a great card overall. It represents love, passion, opportunities, ideas, and also for many of you, a healing that's going on here in the heart space. So even if you haven't kind of manifested all of those other things, what we see here is the heart starting to get back to a place that feels really, really good. If you're looking for love, even before I get into the expanded forecast, this is showing that it's very much within reach. If you're looking to heal an existing relationship, yes. If you're looking to work on something that you're excited about, we can see it lighting up the heart. It's just wonderful. Very rarely do I get the ace showing up for you, but this is a month of possibilities because of that. Let's see what's going on in the environment, and we'll revisit the ace as necessary here. So in the environment, I've been seeing the Five of Wands pop up a lot, not just in the environment, but elsewhere. This is basically a question from the universe saying, do you like what you're doing? Are you motivated? And also, is there a smarter or better way to get things done? You have two cards where efficiency can be had if you're ready. So in your outcome is the Seven of Wands. And I always say there's a possibility here to work smarter, not necessarily harder. And with the Five of Wands, there's an encouragement to collaborate, to communicate, but to avoid unnecessary competition. So take a step back from competing, focus more on leading, and also when and if you're presented with way too many things, you can simply push back and say no. You really want to focus again on what you can make the biggest impact on this month rather than everything. You got three of the sevens here: Seven of Swords, Seven of Pentacles, Seven of Wands, and I featured the Seven of Cups in the main reading, which is a nice synchronicity. So it's lucky sevens this month. It feels like you have to kind of move through those energies in order to get to all of the balance that we hit with the eights. Okay, before we get into that Seven of Wands, I want to cover the Three of Cups here. Hopes, fears, and opportunities. Some of you may be just a little bit nervous about putting yourself out there. So this is love, it's passion, it's your heart, it's confidence. And now we have Three of Cups. This could be meeting someone new, it could be networking. It could also be a fear of fitting in because this can represent a clique. It can be a professional group that's difficult to have notice you. It can be like a school or organization where you really want to be a part of it, but they're very exclusive. You know what? You're going to be okay with or without that exclusive approval. And that's the big lesson this month. If they are not open to what it is you have to offer, there's something or someone that is a better match. And what you want to do is stay strong and push back on anything that feels like it's just gossip or negativity or too much noise. You have it this month. You have what it takes to make something beautiful happen. This is the best illustration for the Seven of Wands because there is no aggression, stress, or frustration. She's actually the epitome of being graceful in a very stressful situation. The traditional Seven of Wands, I'll pull it up while we're talking here, but the person is pushing back because things are just going like a mile a minute. Sometimes, again, it may be that they've overcommitted. The good news with the Seven of Wands is invariably where there's a will, there's a way, and you don't get any more this month than you can handle. But the opportunity leading up to this, because you're watching this in advance of the month hopefully being over, is that you can simply push back. It's easier to see the pushing back on this card. You can simply push back and say no. And then be at peace with not having to apologize for why you're saying no or why you're delegating. Just say, no, I asked you to do that. Please get that done. And then hold your peace, hold your power. So it's somewhere between the two of them. And one last note, because we have a more sort of peaceful card here is that you don't owe everyone an explanation. You don't have to go on the defensive. You can fight for what matters, but you don't have to fight all the time. And that's one thing that, as you get older, definitely becomes much clearer. Let's expand the forecast here and look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. We're going to start off with the health card, which is your mind, body, and spirit. As we look at this, we have a card of speed and grace, the gazelle coming through. So when things are primed up for that moment of movement, know this: they'll move quickly, and all of the work that you're doing that we saw here at the center to properly lay the foundations, heal and prepare, it's worth it. All of the homework that you're doing to kind of be informed and aware, it's worth it. All of the work that you've done to push back on people that you really don't want to be aligned with, that's going to speed things up as well. So notice that the gazelle is resting here. Make time for rest, and there will be intermittent sprints where you have to move quickly. You can move quickly, but you're not going to run all month long. So I like that we see a resting symbol of speed. Know when to rest, know when to sprint, and doing that this month is going to give you enough, basically, energy to make it through. Back in middle school and high school, I used to do some track and field, mostly actually in middle school. But I remember the difference between long distance running and sprinting. I typically did sprints, but whenever I did longer things like the relay or again, long distance running, you had to really work on the pacing. And it was much harder to do longer distances than it was to do shorter, because you could just burn through all the energy and you just had to get to the end quickly. When you're doing a longer distance relay or just a long distance run, you have to save and calculate, and then you have to push at the end, typically when you'd be feeling that exhaustion. So think of this month in those terms. You don't want to spend the whole battery of energy at the beginning. All right, that's enough with that. Let's go ahead now and look at some additional messages around health this month. Some of you are being sort of nudged from spirit to get out of a sort of, a constrictive situation. It may be spending too much time indoors, maybe too much time working, because we see a lot of focus on money and work and school. So this is saying, it's good, you're doing great, but it's also good to come out of that shell a little bit. Make sure that you're truly ready for any significant change in your health or just general sort of habits this month before you commit to them. And that's why this card comes through. If you say it, and if you say you're going to do it, then follow through. That's basically these two connected. Some of you might be pregnant this month. Take special care of yourself. For the rest of you, this is just about making sure that any part of your health that isn't where you want it to be, that you're basically nurturing yourself. I think that there's a little bit of burnout, but not to the degree that we see like a 10 of Wands or 10 of Swords here. So again, making a little bit more time to say yes to social endeavors actually could be good. The only cautionary note with any of that is moderation. Don't overwork, don't over exercise, don't overdo anything. Moderation is your friend. In wealth, we have the inner child. The inner child, of course, a reminder to have some fun, to do something that's playful. It could also be an invitation to do something that's a little bit more youth-oriented. So for those of you that might be working in a business or doing something professional, this is saying, let's not forget about younger people. Let's also not forget that people of all ages like to have some fun. When I was looking at the environment, I saw a very kind of like not so inspiring card, the Five of Wands. And what that basically is a reminder of is that in order to be productive, we need downtime, we need to rest. We also need motivation. So taking a vacation, that's actually the first thing and the strongest thing that's coming through as I tune into this. When was the last time you did something purely for the sake of fun and enjoyment? Give yourself permission to take a day off, to take a vacation, to audit a class or learn something new or get involved with an extracurricular just because it's fun. Not because it's going to help you get a job or help you get into school or help you meet a group of people, simply because it's your passion. And that connects us back with the water horse, a path to independence. It's your soul calling. It's your soul saying, let's do this. Let's have some fun. Let's get involved. All right, let's break this down very briefly in 3 different areas. For those that are already in a job, here's what I see for you. The main call here to action or for opportunity is just basically to step into a leadership role. You have leadership, 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 and wisdom. So if you want to step up or step out, you have everything you need to do that. What's missing from the mix? The environment. For some of you, there just may be low morale or too much work on your plate, and there is, again, an opportunity to delegate or push back. There could also be promises that haven't been kept from leaders and from other people. And with all of these sort of leadership cards, you can make a change if you want to. You can also go in a new direction if you want to as well, because you have this magnetic Ace of Cups here. What is it that you want? That's basically the only question that matters. When was the last time you had fun is the first, but the main one is, what is it that you want? If you can get those 2 energies together, having some fun and following your passion, I feel like the sky is the limit, because people are going to be drawn to what you're doing, okay? Main challenge this month is promises that are unkept, or you overextending yourself energetically. If you are a student, what I see this month is breaking free of parental pressure or societal pressure, because we have very maternal energy here, although I kind of read beyond genders with this. So let's just say parents in society are coming through with Queen of Swords and Empress. Queen of Swords reversed is critical. Empress reversed is not necessarily trusting in your own ability to take care of yourself. So I'm here to say that was the past. This is the future. Take initiative. Really make sure that you're looking at what we talked about with that evergreen message. This is something that you'll have to do for a while if you're studying something or if you're doing a new path in work, because I often look at the student piece as booting or rebooting if you're going back into the workforce after some time off. So just make sure that this next chapter is one where you really feel engaged, throughout several years, and it's something that really makes sense for you. It's all about passion this month. If the passion isn't there, then it's time to hit the brakes and decide, do some research and decide what you want to do and pivot. If you're retired, unemployed, or not focusing on work, there's a lot of social energy coming through in opportunities. I think that one thing that is coming through loud and clear as I'm looking at this, though, is it's time for you to prioritize, especially if you're retired here, what it is that you want. We're just focusing in on that heart center right now. So this is a chance to finally, maybe for the first time, just do it because. And it's so fun when you finally get to call the shots. So if you've been working for everyone else all of your life, this is your chance to say, you know what? I want to do this next thing for me. And maybe some of you are deciding to give back to youth or to the next generation, because that inner child isn't just your inner child, but you could also be connecting with younger people out there, teaching them, mentoring them, or giving them something that they can take and apply to their own lives. Really beautiful energy and message as well. Okay. Work-life balance for some of you, one last note. If you are looking to have a child, make sure that you're checking out maternity and paternity packages and making sure that you're getting to spend enough time with that baby. That's important. You don't, that sort of chapter of their life is really, really, They're very impressionable. And you should be a part of that. So make sure that you're getting the information on that as well. All right, let's move on to love and relationships and see what's coming through here. All right, so we had 2 cards that stuck together, one upright, one reverse. Let's break down the messages here. The first card that was upright here is the Earth Guardian. It says, stay rooted and grounded. Relationships can and should provide that sense of grounding and support. And as long as they are, you're headed in the right direction. The card that was beneath it is Magician Guardian reversed. And just so we can read it, it says, unlock the magic within. I often read the Magician tarot card as a chemistry or a connection card when we're looking at relationships. And because I'm in the energy of love, this is basically saying you feel it or you don't. So if it's a new love that you're looking at, you can't force the connection. If it's a long-term relationship and you've been pulling away a little bit, it's about rekindling the flame. Let's now take a look at those in love, followed by those looking for love, and then those who are single and happy. If you're in a loving relationship, the most important thing this month is honesty. And if there's something that needs to be said, it's time to bring that forward. And just like I talked about way back at the beginning, we'll pull it up here just for a moment. It's about clearing the air. as long as you are honest and clear and discussing all of these things, I feel like the sky is the limit. But if there's confusion, if there's anger, if there's emotion, and that's kind of swirling around, it's going to be difficult to focus, and you're going to spend a lot of time this month wishing that you could just sort of get that cleared up. And I think the most important thing is keeping promises and being authentic, being honest, and being, what's the other word that I'm looking for? Oh, having integrity. All of those things matter this month. And if you've got that, then you're on solid ground and you really have the Earth Guardian energy. If you don't, you have to work a little bit at creating it. And that's why the Magician came through, just to connect those to this. It could also be a little challenging for one of the partners because the Hermit energy is here. So one of you might be pulling back a little bit. And especially, I would say, there needs to be communications around money or anything that you're working on healing or dealing with. The Seven of Pentacles will eventually grow into something beautiful, but it does require work. And in this case, probably some visibility and cooperation from both parties. Looking historically at what is challenging the relationship, it's critical communication. Make sure that it's constructive and kind. We also see issues around control, so make sure that both parties are feeling equally independent and capable. And I think if you can do that, things are in a good space. Passion is there, but there has to be that sort of meeting of the minds and meeting halfway. There are questions about commitment. So for those of you maybe that have been together a long time but haven't decided what the relationship looks like, is it long-term? Are you married? What is it? There could be a discussion around expectations. For those that are married, this can also be family members, third parties, other people that are on the fringe or on the periphery, and there may be some challenges with that, especially if there's any sort of trepidation or embarrassment around you two being together around this exclusive group. Remember, the love you share together is more important than the approval of some picky people. So really, if you love each other, that should be more than enough, and these people should be on board with that. And that's really all I'm picking up with relationships. It looks pretty manageable. This is the only thing that I was drawn to first and foremost. If you're looking for love this month, can you find it? Absolutely. We have the Three of Cups here. We have a fire sign or Leo coming through in particular. You're showing up as very receptive. That's what I'm looking for this month. Across all different types of relationship status is this feeling of, I know who I am. My heart is open. Are you open? And you're really kind of being discerning. That would be my encouragement here, is be discerning. It feels like there's a little bit that you need to do for you first before you'll be ready for this. But I do feel like there are two like-minded individuals here, strong and outspoken, and we see that same energy here. So yes, you can find love. Fire signs are coming through loud and clear. For those that are single and happy, I think that the main thing that you can do this month is to find better work-life balance and to really follow a passion, do something for fun, maybe even take on some sort of a new skill or passion or something of that nature and develop that. That's the big opportunity this month, okay? And that's everything that I see for love. It's pretty manageable overall. Let's go ahead now and look at the final of the expanded forecast categories, and it's destiny. We have a beautiful card coming through here. It's kind of like piggybacking off of what I just said, the crown chakra, and this is all about spiritual development. So, and higher knowledge for that matter. So if you want to go to college, if you want to learn something new, if you want to teach or share or somehow impart knowledge on others, crown chakra is basically just saying focus on developing that. That was also part of the reason when I was tuning into the clouds, I thought, let's clear the sky. Let's really get this clear so that people can see and hear and understand what it is that you are trying to convey. So getting that clarity, that mental clarity, is going to open up and unlock so many opportunities. But again, if you were thinking of something particularly sort of cognitive, school or metaphysical development or spiritual development, this is nicely aligned with all of those. Now let's take a moment and expand this a little further to look at sun, rising, and moon sign messages, and we'll see what's in store. In the sun sign, we have the star coming through. It is reversed. There's a very simple and profound message when the star is reversed, and ultimately that is You don't have to dim your light. In this lifetime, you were meant to find happiness, be loved, and you're supposed to be able also to be the brightest, best version of yourself. If there's any friend, family member, or colleague that comes through and asks you to quiet down, to dim your light, or to be someone that you're not, this is a big old red flag where you're going to take a step back and say, thanks, but no thanks. This is who I am. Take me or leave me. Okay? In astronomy, there's more binary star systems than there are kind of like single ones like our solar system. So it's very natural in nature for there to be multiple luminous bodies right next to each other. So your light doesn't dim the light of someone else. If anything, it should be an indication that like attracts like. And so they have the same capacity to shine. Likewise, in your life, if someone is triggering a feeling of jealousy or intimidation, remember that the fact that they're right by you means that you can accomplish amazing things. They wouldn't be spending time with you if you weren't powerful, if you weren't beautiful, and if you weren't resplendent. So lean into your shine this month. Don't mute your power. Don't mute your voice. It's quite the opposite. And when you are your authentic, most authentic self, lo and behold, that's probably when you're going to be most happy and most successful as well. Rising sign messages. It's a really good month for business, for work, and for personal development. We see this person, it's almost like a farmer putting all of the seeds in the field here, and you're going to start to see multiple things starting to take shape, take root, take form. And going the distance this month is so important. I think you've done a lot of the internal healing that we saw here with the Seven of Pentacles, and you may surprise yourself at your capacity to move forward and move past blocks. The message from Spirit for you is also profound, which is you are now unblocked. Whatever you felt was blocking you financially, intellectually, emotionally, etc., the blocks are coming down, but you have to be ready and willing to move forward from that. And just like this horse, gallop beyond that, okay? I like that we have the little dolphins in the background. They're nicely connected again to that inner child card. Fun and play are the key to success. Having fun with what you're doing, what you're shifting and changing, it's so important this month. We should see positive movement with your finances as well. So this is really, really a great energy overall. Okay, let's look now at moon sign messages. We have the Eight of Swords. Things are better than you think. And this is one of the best illustrations for the Eight of Swords because we see the truth of the matter is this. She looks pretty good. We see the projection of the matter being this. Fear, anxiety, what if this happens, what if that happens, and it's all the other people's thoughts and energy kind of buzzing about. So the opportunity here is to take a step back and look at it from a higher perspective. And with Eight of Swords, just like Two of Swords, what you can do is ask questions. You can change the environment. You can change something that comes across critical as a why does this have to be the way that I'm thinking it is? So if you think to yourself, what if I fail? Well, what if I succeed? Why can't I succeed? I'm going to succeed. So just change up the thoughts, rewrite them, edit them a bit. I think that's going to be important. There's a little bit of ambiguity that's coming through in the moon sign, and that's okay. Basically, that's the universe saying not everything's going to be shown to you because you know what? Sometimes there's a happy surprise. It could be unexpected love. It could be a really strong friend or partnership. It could be you landing on an epiphany or an insight that was unexpected. The universe wants a few cool surprises to be out there. Eight of Swords can sometimes just be sort of like an indication of something beautiful that you didn't anticipate. And even as intuitives, it's nice to have those surprises coming through as well, right? And that's everything. So let's go ahead now and move on to your final question and your final card for today. The way that this works is I'd love for you to focus on one thing that I've yet to answer, and I'm going to give the cards a nice shuffle here, and we're going to see what the universe has to say. So any question in your life, here's what we've got as the answer. We've got the Five of Pentacles. As a yes or no, this is a not yet. And here's where the sort of opportunity for improvement is. Typically, the Five of Pentacles has to do with confidence, and it has to do with releasing pain or frustration or a setback from the past. This is one of the best illustrations because The key to success is always within, or like right in front of you. What she has to do in this moment is to love, forgive, and release that past energy and decide to walk through the door and say, I'm ready for something new, something better, and I've always had the key and the capacity to make this happen. So in order to take the next step in your life, there has to be a sense of really good self-confidence and understanding that you don't need someone else to make it right. You have the capacity to do whatever you need to do here. Five of Pentacles is also a card where you want to focus on health, in particular, lower extremities, like your basically below the knee. A lot of times you'll see someone on crutches here. So it can show circulation issues, broken bones, sprained ankles, things of that nature. It's also, of course, a financial card. So when you're looking at any negotiation, this is too low. There's always a chance to negotiate a little bit more. And sometimes we feel like we have to accept less because we want the acceptance of this group. I'm asking you to push back and really get what you need. The Six of Pentacles is the goal, and it typically is a card that shows the scales of balance. So make sure that you have what you need. So it's a not yet. I would say it's a no, and it's focusing on you healing yourself, you pushing for a little bit more, and then also leaning into opening new doors of opportunity. The past is the past. The future is still unwritten, just like that song, and you have a chance to really embrace that new page like the Fool and see what it has to share and has to offer. All right, my friends, that's everything for today. I hope you enjoyed this reading. It was really magical, and it was really my honor to be here. So if you did enjoy this and you're brand new, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button. It's a great way to make sure that you don't miss out on future videos. You can also opt into notifications, and everybody give me at least, well, you can only do one. So give me a like if you enjoy this. It's a great way to know in real time that this is something that you connected with. Follow me on social media for news and updates. It's always my full name, Nicholas Ashbaugh. No character changes, no extra spaces. I'm on all major platforms, as you can see, and you can always go to my website to make sure that you have the right information. As a heads up, I don't offer private readings. I will not direct message or text you or contact you by any means asking you for anything on social media. This is the way that you can connect with me, and it's always optional if you want to give back. You can do so through Super Chat, Super Stickers, membership, and also through hitting the thanks button whenever I post something. Thank you for doing that if you would like to. Otherwise, I just want to say thank you for showing up. You have so many choices here on YouTube. It's an honor that you spent the past 40 minutes or so with me. I wish you all the best. Check out my daily readings if you haven't already, as well as my weekly collectives. Until I see you again, sending you all the best, and thanks again.